Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. The internet has become as central to childhood as learning to ride a bike. It's a library, a playground, and a social club all rolled into one glowing screen. But this digital world is also filled with risks that were unimaginable just a generation ago. Today, we're diving into the fascinating and complex story of how our laws are trying to keep up, walking a digital tightrope to protect children in the online world. Let's start back in the 1990s, the Wild West of the internet. As dial-up modems chirped their way into family homes, a major panic set in. Kids could easily stumble upon adult content. The first major attempt in the US to solve this was the Communications Decency Act of 1996, or CDA. The idea was simple: make it a crime to transmit anything indecent to someone under 18. But civil liberties groups immediately cried foul, arguing this was like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, trampling on the First Amendment rights of adults. The Supreme Court agreed. In the landmark 1997 case Reno versus ACLU, the court struck down the law, declaring that the internet deserved the highest level of free speech protection. So, Congress tried again with the Child Online Protection Act, or COPPA. It was more targeted, but it also got stuck in legal battles for a decade, and ultimately failed for the same reason. You can't censor the entire internet for adults just to protect children. These early failures forced a crucial shift in strategy. Lawmakers realized that trying to ban content outright was a dead end. So they came up with two new, much cleverer approaches. First was the Children's Internet Protection Act of 2000, known as CIPA. This law didn't ban anything directly. Instead, it told public schools and libraries, if you want federal discounts for your internet access, you have to install filtering software to block obscene or harmful material for minors. The Supreme Court upheld this, reasoning that since adults could ask for the filters to be turned off, it wasn't an absolute block on information. But the most important law from this era was the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act of 1998, or COPPA. This was a game changer. COPPA didn't focus on what kids could see. It focused on what information could be taken from them. It mandated that websites aimed at children under 13 had to get a parent's permission before collecting any personal data. It gave parents the right to review and delete their child's information. COPPA established a vital new principle. Children's data is special and needs protection, and the responsibility for that protection lies with the website operators, not the kids. Then, in the mid-2000s, the internet changed completely. The static web of pages gave way to the dynamic, user-generated world of social media. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok created vast, interactive social spaces. This brought amazing new ways to connect, but it also introduced a whole new category of risks. The old fear of a child accidentally seeing pornography was now just one problem among many. The new dangers were interactive and personal. Cyberbullying moved from the schoolyard to a 24/7 global stage. Online predators now had powerful new tools to create fake profiles and groom children. And a more insidious threat emerged from the very design of the platforms themselves. Features like infinite scrolling, like counts, and recommendation algorithms were engineered to be addictive. For teens, this created immense pressure for social validation, fueling anxiety, depression, and body image issues. We saw this laid bare in 2021 when internal documents leaked from Facebook revealed the company knew its platform, Instagram, could be toxic for the mental health of teenage girls. Lawmakers struggled to keep up with this high-speed social evolution. The problem was no longer just about shielding kids from bad content. It was about protecting them from the inherent risks of the platforms they used every day. For a long time, the solution was believed to be digital literacy, teaching kids to be good digital citizens. The popular analogy was that it's better to teach a child to swim than to build a fence around every swimming pool. But a growing consensus emerged that education alone wasn't enough. The pools themselves, with their powerful algorithmic currents, were part of the problem. This brings us to the last 5 years, which have marked a dramatic turning point. Fueled by whistleblower revelations and mounting research on youth mental health, there has been a global push away from self-regulation towards real legal accountability. Europe and the United Kingdom have led the charge. The EU's first pillar is the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, which set a new world standard for data privacy in 2018. For kids, it requires parental consent to process data for anyone under 16 and demands that privacy notices be written in clear language a child can understand. Building on that, the EU's Digital Services Act, or DSA, which became fully active in 2024, makes platforms responsible for the content they host. Crucially for kids, the DSA outright bans targeted advertising based on profiling minors and forces platforms to design their services with a high level of child safety and privacy in mind. The United Kingdom has forged its own powerful path, centered on a legal concept called a duty of care. This started with the Age-Appropriate Design Code, or the Children's Code, in 2021. It's a set of 15 standards based on one core principle. The best interests of the child must be a primary consideration when designing any online service likely to be accessed by kids. This means things like having the highest privacy settings turned on by default, switching geolocation off by default, and not using nudge techniques to trick kids into giving up their privacy. Then, in 2023, the UK passed the landmark Online Safety Act. This law formally establishes that duty of care, making platforms legally responsible for their users' safety, with the strongest protections reserved for children. Platforms must prevent kids from seeing harmful content related to things like suicide, self-harm, and eating disorders. They have to use highly effective age assurance to separate kids and adults, and they face massive fines, up to 10% of their global annual turnover, if they fail. Meanwhile, in the United States, things are a bit more chaotic. While the US was a pioneer with COPPA, it has fallen behind on comprehensive federal law. So individual states have stepped in, creating a confusing patchwork. California passed its own version of the UK's Age-Appropriate Design Code. Utah and Arkansas passed laws requiring parental consent for a minor to even create a social media account. This fragmentation is a headache for companies and users alike. At the federal level, the debate is now focused on two major proposals. The first is the Kids Online Safety Act, or COPPA. This bipartisan bill would establish a duty of care similar to the UK's, requiring platforms to act in the best interests of minors and provide tools to disable addictive features. The second is COPPA 2.0, which aims to update the original 1998 law by raising the age of protection from 13 to 16 and banning targeted advertising to teens altogether. So, with all these new laws, what are the actual mechanisms being used to make the internet safer? There are 4 key areas. First is age verification and assurance. The goal is to separate children and adults online. This can range from simple, easy-to-fake self-declaration to more robust methods, like scanning a government ID or using facial analysis to estimate age. The big challenge here is privacy. Do we really want to hand over our biometric data just to access a website? Second is content moderation. Platforms use a mix of AI and human moderators to find and remove illegal material, like child sexual abuse material, and to limit the visibility of legal but harmful content. The challenge is the sheer scale. A major point of conflict is end-to-end encryption. It's vital for our privacy, but it also makes it harder for law enforcement to detect the sharing of abuse material in private messages. This creates a profound clash between the right to privacy and the need to protect children. The third, And perhaps most important mechanism is safety by design. This moves beyond just policing content and focuses on fixing the underlying architecture of the platforms. It means giving users the ability to disable addictive features like autoplay and infinite scroll. It means being transparent about how recommendation algorithms work and letting users opt out in favor of a simple chronological feed. And it means privacy by default. The most protective settings are turned on from the start, and a child has to actively choose to be less private, not the other way around. Finally, there's data protection. Building on COPPA, the new wave of laws strictly limits how children's data can be collected and used, with many moving to ban targeted advertising to minors completely. This is a direct challenge to the business model that funds much of the free internet. As you can see, this is all a delicate tightrope walk, constantly balancing competing rights. Almost every solution involves a trade-off. Aggressive content moderation converges on censorship. Robust age verification creates privacy risks. And overly restrictive laws can limit a teenager's ability to access information and develop the skills they need for the adult world. The future won't get any simpler. The rise of generative AI brings new risks, from easily created deepfakes to manipulative chatbots. Immersive worlds in the metaverse will blur the lines between physical and digital reality, creating complex new safety challenges. But what is clear is that the era of self-regulation is over. The evolution of these laws shows a journey from clumsy first steps to a sophisticated global approach. The new consensus is that safety cannot be an afterthought. It must be built into digital services from the ground up. The burden of responsibility has shifted from users onto the powerful platforms that shape their experiences. Creating a digital world that is both safe and empowering for children is not a job for lawmakers alone. It requires a partnership between governments, tech companies who must innovate responsibly, educators who build digital literacy, and parents who guide their children. The goal isn't to build a sterile, walled garden, but to cultivate a digital environment where kids can explore, learn, and connect with the world and each other safely and confidently.